So recently, a bunch of unaired pilots found their way online, dating back to the 90s. What I want to do is look at these pilots and determine two things. 1, did it have potential? And 2, how different would popular culture be if this pilot was picked up for series? Today we're opening up the pilot vault and looking at the pilot for a show called Nobody's Watching. The concept of the show centers on Derek and Will, two young television addicts from Ohio who are frustrated with the dreadful state of television programming. As a result, they decide to become the subjects of a reality show when a major network gives them the opportunity to create their own sitcom. We start with Derek and Will talking to the camera, addressing the TV network. They say that all the comedy shows on are crap nowadays. They talk about all the crap sitcoms that are on the air at the time. According to Jim, Yes Dear. You know, two shows that I guarantee you most people don't remember. I have admittedly seen them both, but you know, I realise I'm a bit of a TV addict myself. That's the entire point of this channel, isn't it? But come on, you can't watch Everybody Loves Raymond and then not carry on to watch Yes Dear. That's just the order those things go in. The main actress in Yes Dear was a recurring character on Everybody Loves Raymond, and back when the show was airing, the bumpers would always advertise Yes Dear. It was basically the unofficial sister show. They also mention a bunch of great sitcoms which are still remembered fondly today. Seinfeld, Frasier, Taxi, the classic. Will and Derek then tell us about how important television is to them. It helped raise them, and honestly, I'm sold. TV basically raised me as well, you know, for better or for worse. So I completely relate with these guys already. The boys declare that the people at the network are ruining TV. Then we jump ahead in time, and we see that the WB have got in contact with them and told them, if you think you can make a better show, then make one. They're on the set of a typical sitcom and get up to some antic. They then have a meeting with the Suits. I can't believe this thing was made in 2005. Mockumentaries would be popularised a few years prior in the UK with The Office, but even in the 90s they had like mockumentary style shows. Like I remember the X-Files did an episode which was a parody of Cops. So mockumentaries were a thing, it's just they weren't the thing. Nowadays every second sitcom is a mockumentary. Modern Family, Parks and Rec, Abbott Elementary, they all incorporate that style. They're given a bunch of sitcom sets and are told to make comedy with it. It's a real fish out of water story. Them trying to make their own sitcom in Hollywood, being picked up from some suburb in Ohio. There are so many layers to this show. They're being followed by the documentary crew, but then they still break the fourth wall occasionally. It's brilliant. Someone at the network, Jill, wants to help Will and Derek, and she has a great line.
Have you ever tried yoga?
Yoga gives me too much time to think and it makes me cry.
Me too.
Has ever a line been so relatable before? I love it. There's a crowd in the studio audience and they respond every time Will and Derek make a joke. And there's a wonderful bit where Derek starts talking to Jill and Will tells him to stand in a different spot because he has his back to the camera. This pilot is peppered with wonderful little bits like that. I love it. They then walk on to the set of Central Perk, the coffee house from Friends, which is so wonderfully meta. I love how this show proper leans into popular culture. I well would have watched an entire season of just these two getting up to trouble. And we get Gunther standing behind the counter. The actor, James Michael Tyler, just like mutters about how this is his version of hell. Remember in that episode of Episodes where they were trying to get one of the Friends cast to do a guest spot on Matt LeBlanc's new show, but they couldn't get anyone, so they eventually ended up getting Gunther. I suppose it's similar here. I'm gutted that the actor has passed away because between this show and Episode, he really did seem like a really good sport. Do you know what the only reason why he got the the role of Gunther was? It's because he was the only one who knew how to work the coffee machine. Little fun fact for you there. Jill starts to get a little bit too involved and they don't really like that. And they do a funny play on the censor noise that plays whenever they swear. I still wish they would have played with it a little more in Right vs. Wrong. You know, when Cheryl Hines swore on set, they really missed the mark there. Derek shouts at Will because he's not taking it all seriously enough. Your classic middle act conundrum. I really like the twist of this show, that the show is a reality show about Derek and Will making their own sitcom, and this came out in 2005. It wouldn't surprise me if they was trying to jump on the bandwagon of mockumentaries with The American Office about to premiere. Will bumps into a homeless woman outside and wait, hang on, speaking of episodes, that's Morning from that show. Will offers her a job on this show. The people at the network tell Derek that they're interested in going forward with the show, only without Will. So we've got the classic dilemma of, will he abandon his friend so he can achieve his dream? And the answer to that is, yeah. Derek immediately bails on his friend and says he can do it without him, but it's quickly revealed that they only did this to get a clip of him saying so they can use it against him later. I kinda wish they'd reused the living room set from some of the show and just dressed it differently. You see that all the time on TV. The living room set from Roseanne was later redressed and used as a living room for Mike and Molly. They should have just done that. Put some set dressing on the Everybody Loves Raymond set and call it a day. Morning then enters, looking a lot different than how she looked before. Turns out she's dressed this way to manipulate Derek into hiring her. Will bumps into Zach Braff on set. He's only in this for a brief cameo. This pilot was written by the creator of Scrubs, Bill Lawrence, so it makes sense that he popped up. We then have my favourite part of the episode. Will is talking about how he grew up without a dad, so the closest thing he ever had to a dad were the dads he saw on TV, and that's when he bumps into Mr. C from Happy Days, Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and Alan Thicke from Growing Pains. I adored this moment. It really does feel like this show was made just for me. What's beautiful about these cameos is that these guys all played dads on shows that ended years prior. This pilot is from 2005 and Happy Days ended in 1984. Fresh Prince ended in 96 and Growing Pains ended in 92. It was wonderful how they got these guys to come to set and play the father figure roles for Will. They're on set for a Jeopardy's dad episode. Kinda sad how all three of these guys are dead now. Back in the office, Derek is feeling down because he's had a falling out with Will. And then Jill essentially tells Morning that she has no right to be sad because she's conventionally attractive. And while, sure, pretty privilege does exist, she has no right to say that she shouldn't have feelings because of the way she looks. Besides, are we really glancing over the fact that the actor who plays Jill is gorgeous? I only mention it because it's relevant, but surely this is poor casting if this is a line they had to deliver. It reminds me of in the Barbie movie where they removed the makeup from Margot Robbie and had her complain that she was just now an average looking Barbie. Then there's a freeze frame and Helen Mirren says, "Notes for the producers. Maybe Margot Robbie wasn't the right person to cast if this is a message you want to deliver." I love that moment because it addressed the problem that everyone had. The script was smart enough to read the minds of everyone in the audience, and absolutely everyone was watching that part of the film thinking, Margot Robbie is still gorgeous even without makeup. They nailed it with that film. Hollywood can't help but hire incredibly attractive people. Then they make them comment on how difficult it is not being incredibly attractive. Just look at Ready Player One, when Olivia Cook's character was all self-conscious about being hideous because of her birthmark. Despite, you know, she's Olivia friggin' Cook. The woman One Direction sang about being beautiful. Anyway, we're off track. Jill annoyed me. Let's get back to the show. It's revealed that Morning wasn't actually down on her luck. She's been hired by the network as a plant to incorporate some more appeal into the show. Yeah, I saw that coming a mile off, that's no surprise. The network tries to get her to make out with Will, despite the fact that she's already bonded with Derek. and they have a bit of drama about it. Will brings Alan Thicke into the studio, and he really hams it up for the audience. He does a great job in this. I love Alan Thicke. Will and Derek become friends again and vow to make an incredible show together. Only, once again, they're talking about a future we will never see because this pilot was not picked up for series. So where does this pilot rank among the other unaired pilots we've talked about? Well, it's not going to surprise you. This is going to go very high up. The only thing I'm wondering is, was this better than Luckwell? It's like Sophie's Choice, this is. Well, it's not. Isn't it mad when people compare making a semi-difficult decision to the horrific decision in Sophie's Choice? I'm gonna put this in second place, which tells you how incredible Luckwell was, because I absolutely adored this show and I'm heartbroken that we never got more of it. So it definitely deserves that number 2 spot. Right, do you know of any more unaired pilots you want me to talk about? We talk about a new unaired pilot every 2 days on this channel, so subscribe for more and help us get to 4K. Right, I'll let you go. Bye.